video on something I'm faffing around with. So this is the cheap bacon from the supermarket, normally called cooking bacon, and it's kind of like the cheapest meat in the supermarket. So I've been faffing around with it. It's a little, I don't have a packet to show you because I've done something with it already. It's all right. It's not, because it's cheap. It's not like poor quality. It's just like the ends of bacon joints that they can't no longer get a slice of bacon out of. So they just repackage it and sell it as cooking bacon. And sometimes you fall lucky, and there's like five gammon steaks in there. But it's cheap, it's decent, and I've just been playing around with what you can do with it as an ingredient. And I was kind of thinking, well, why can't we just use it like pork mince? So it's a little bit salty, so I kind of thought what we'll do is we'll just soak it in water overnight to get some of that excess salt out of it, and then we'll mince it, and then we'll treat it like pork mince, and see how it turns out. Now, because I soaked it in the water and I've minced it, it's a little bit wet, so I'm just frying some off, and I've got some more here. So let's see if we can squeeze some excess moisture out of it and see if that makes a difference. Because we don't really want to. It's boiling at the moment. It's not frying. And then I'm going to cook it down in some tomatoes and make kind of like a ragu. So let's see if we can squeeze some moisture out of it, or we just have to put up with the fact that some liquid's coming out of it. So just an old cloth, which I use for other things, which I use for all kinds of things. So it's a little bit stained. It's clean. It's just a little bit stained. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of water out of there, but not. Yeah, we're going to get some water out of there, but not really much. So it's not really worth trying to squeeze the water out of it. We're just going to have to fry it and cook off the water that way. I think it's mostly because I've soaked it in water, and it's going to make a mess of the cloth, isn't it? Yeah. So let's just fry it off in a pan and put up with the amount of water that comes out of it, I think. And then we'll what we call it, and then we'll see how it fries, and then I'm cooking something else in the oven all day today, so I'm going to slow braise it in the. Is it braising in the oven? Yeah, braising in the oven. So I'll fry it, see how if it kind of fries and gets a bit of colour on it. And then we'll add some tin tomatoes, and then we'll cook it down slowly in the oven, and we'll kind of see how it turns out. And then if it cooks down in tomatoes, it'll cook down if you were to cook it down in stock. So you could potentially make anything where you use anything that's mince, you will be able to use it as a mince substitute. So like cottage pies, pasties, lasagnas, those type of things, we should be able to use it as a mince substitute. You have to have a mincer, which kind of defeats the object of trying to cut down to buy a bit of equipment to be able to buy something cheaper and use it. Seems a little bit the wrong way around to kind of go around things. But if you've got a mincer, it should be okay. So it seems like it's colouring a little bit once the moisture's kind of come out of it. So we'll see how that turns. We'll get some more colour, and then we'll see how it turns out. So that seems to be doing okay. We've got a little bit of colour on it, so I'll proceed with cooking the rest of the mince. How does it taste? It'll be cooked enough through. Yeah, soaking it in water has certainly removed that extra saltiness. I find bacon just to be a little bit too salty, so soaking it has worked. And this should make a really good pasta sauce. Well, yeah, really good. Yeah, it will be good. It will be good. So fry the rest of this off, and then we'll add some tomatoes. Cook that down. Do you need to see that? I don't think so. I might add some onions as well, depending on what time I've got. But so add some cheap tin tomatoes, because I'm all about saving the costs. And as long as we treat them correctly, cheap ingredients. Are fine. We just need to treat them with a little bit more care. But they're fine. But they just need pureeing down, and then we'll add them to that, and then we'll slow braise it in the oven, and we'll see how it turns out. You don't need to see that. We'll be back after the meaty ragu has been cooking down for hours, and we'll give it a taste. Let's have a look at this. It's been in for a long time. There we go. You can see how much it's dropped down a lot. So it was a kilo of pork mince, and it was 400 grams tins of tomatoes, and it's kind of lost all that volume of liquid there, so it's dropped down a centimetre and a bit. Give it a taste. So there's no seasoning in this, it's just minced bacon and tomato. Yeah, that's nice. So we can use cooking bacon minced as like a really cheap form of meat. Well, it's not a form of meat, it is meat, but we're going to use it like mince. So therefore, we can substitute cooking bacon for anything where we use mince in. So I've used it in meatballs. I'm going to use that in lasagna or a pasta bake, for anything. So it can be utilised as mince. So there we go. A success.